There's something to be said for doing your job well and looking good while doing it. Not ostentatious, not flashy, just classic and classy. And that's the Passat. In the automotive world, it's hard to grab headlines without ridiculous 0 to 60 times or an outrageous redesign. But the Germans don't like to redesign. They like to refine. With that in mind, there aren't a lot of revolutionary changes for the Passat in 2017, following a major mid-cycle refresh the previous year. The SEL trim is now gone, distributing its content up and down the trim lineup, and that means that every Passat above the base S trim now gets blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic and VW App Connect, and that means Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Additionally, all Passats now enjoy standard forward collision warning with auto braking. Now, the Passat is made in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and it's the first VW model to be built here in North America. But it's not the same Passat as they have in Europe. Instead, they refined it, as Germans are wont to do, stretching the wheelbase and the width to accommodate American egos. A side effect of this is that the Passat can boast 102 cubic feet of passenger space in here, and class-leading rear seat legroom of 39.1 inches. Okay, class-leading sounds really impressive, but the Camry and the Mazda 6, which came in second and third, are just 0.2 and 0.4 inches behind, respectively. Still, horseshoes and hand grenades. Now, where the Passat doesn't lead the class is in power. With the optional 3.6-liter V6 available on the SE and the SEL premium trims, it does come close. I think only the Fusion beats it. But with that engine, you're talking about paying somewhere between 30 and 35 grand for a car that starts at 22. Besides, the 170 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque with the 1.8-liter turbo has been more than enough to scoot this guy around. 0 to 60 is relatively quick at 7.8, but only the Camry and the Malibu do any worse at 8 seconds flat. Where you should be really concerned is with the passing power. Now, I haven't noticed it being sluggish, but numbers don't lie. Class leaders like the Mazda 6 and the Accord will accelerate from 50 to 70 miles an hour in 4.6 and 5.1 seconds. The Passat takes nearly a whole second longer at 5.9, and when you're passing, that can feel like an eternity. Of course, the competition is working with 2.5-liter engines, so that does make sense. What doesn't make sense is the fuel economy rating. Even down on power, this is pretty much the worst in the class. Only the Camry is lower. The good news is it's not that far off from class leaders. The biggest difference is 3 miles per gallon in the city, and I'm actually getting better than the EPA ratings here. This is listed at 23 city, 34 highway for 27 combined, and I'm getting better than that without even really trying. I'm even keeping it in sport mode most of the time. Of course, these calculations are being done by a Volkswagen computer, so maybe a little spoonful of salt with that one. So if it's not the fastest and it's not the most fuel efficient, what does the Passat offer? Well, it's got a 5-star safety rating from the government and was a top safety pick plus with the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, though it did receive a poor rating for headlight safety with the optional LEDs. Considering the lighting package is a $1,300 luxury, I'd say those are 2 good reasons to leave it off the options list. Trunk space is impressive at 15.9, nearly class leading. And this cabin is a really nice place to spend some time. Great visibility front and back, comfortable supportive seats, and lots of room. Okay, real complaints beyond fuel economy? The steering here is way too light, and sport mode doesn't seem to do anything to add any weight at all. The controls for these side view mirrors are still backwards, left is right and right is left, and that drives me nuts. The LCD display in the dash and the size of this touchscreen are not likely to impress anyone. However, the radio does still have that glorious scroll feature where you can check what song is playing on another station before you actually choose to go to that station. That alone, as far as I'm concerned, is worth the purchase price. Finally, I am looking at 3 different clocks here. VW, if you are aching to do some refining, I suggest starting right there. 3 seems a bit excessive. Now, where the Passat really does excel is in value. You can get into a base S trim for just over 22 grand, and you're going to walk away with alloy wheels, dual zone automatic climate control, Bluetooth, cruise control, and a forward collision warning system with auto brake plus auto headlights, and that's not bad. Now, the R-Line trim adds pleather, heated seats and mirrors, a power driver's seat, plus a larger touchscreen with HD and satellite radio and the VW App Connect. Not to mention the blind spot monitoring and unique R styling. Unfortunately, that last bit includes 19-inch wheels that I suspect would ruin the ride. For that reason alone, I'd start at the SE. The R is about $1,500 more than the base S, and the SE is another $1,500 past that, putting the cost at $25,500 for the SE. But here you're getting a sunroof, keyless entry and ignition, adaptive cruise, and you go back down to more reasonable 17-inch wheels. That sounds about right to me. If I'm being honest, what I really like about the Passat is the styling. If I'm buying a mid-size sedan, I don't want it to attract attention and have a shocking interior design like some of the competition that'll remain nameless. I want it to look good and continue to look good for a few years, maybe even long enough to pass it down to a kid after a bit. And that's what classic design does. No, this isn't the same Passat as the previous generation, but it does get the job done safely, and it's not going to look out of style in a year or two. That's got to count for something. Hey, thanks for watching. For all the details on the 2017 Volkswagen Passat, you can click the link in the description of this video to head over to CarGurus.com, where you can read my full review. And for more videos of some of the competition, just subscribe to the channel.